Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Frank here. I'm back. I'm sorry I've been away from YouTube for a bit. Trying to get things going again. Just been busy. Still cooking. I've got some other videos in the works coming up. Show you what I've got going on there. But in the meantime, I kind of wanted to bring you along for a little adventure. Another personal goal of mine is to own property, own a recreational property somewhere in northern Michigan. Don't really have any specific location picked out. All I want is a nice secluded piece of property on a river, preferably one of the major rivers. Is what I hope for. Whether that's the Pere Marquette or the Pine River, the Betsy, Muskegon River. I've got a few. The course of Manistee. I got a few places in mind, but nothing set in stone. And today I'm gonna go and look at my first property. So yeah, I'm gonna bring you along for the ride. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see what this is all about. All right, so I just got here, just pulled up to the property, and it's pretty cool. Just kind of driving like through the neighborhood area that they have here. It's not quite as off the beaten path as I would like, but it is on the river, which has a lot of value to me. So, one thing I mentioned before, sometimes when you get out and you start looking at properties online, you find one thing. Of course, the realtor is going to post the best pictures that he can to get you to come to the property. And then when you show up, you see something very different. And we found this, like I mentioned earlier, also when we were looking for property for my family. We would look at properties online. They look great, awesome, definitely a contender. And then you show up and there's a pile of trash somewhere that needs to be removed, or a trailer or something along those lines. So something to think about when you're scouting for property online, is that it may not be what you view in the pictures or online or Google Earth or anything like that. So I'm gonna get out here and walk around and kind of show you what I see, and we'll go from there. So here I am on what could potentially be my new property. Few things. So I pulled up to the property, and it's not quite as off the beaten path as I would like, but there's nothing around where I am except one other home. When I pulled up, there were a lot of dead trees, a lot of stuff that had recently fallen down from a nasty storm that they had up here. And instantly my first thought was, this isn't it, but walking into the property, once you get past that stuff that fell, holy cow, this place is pretty awesome. I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you exactly what I see and give you my thoughts. All right, so here's what I see. The property in itself is just over an acre. Long ago, I'm told that long ago, when the Pere Marquette River got its national scenic designation, the state of Michigan bought up this entire piece of property, and it was originally parceled off into 125 foot wide parcels, and there's an easement that goes along the river down there. And this was all public use. And the idea was that they'd sell off these small parcels or turn it into a campground of some sort, and that would be that. Obviously that never happened, and so now the property's for sale. One thing I saw when I pulled up was there's a bunch of dead trees down back there, way back there, like back there, which is where the road's at, and I'll show you those here in just a second. But I was kind of turned off by that almost instantly. You get out, you walk around, and this is what you see. You know, a lot of, you know, what looks like deadfall right here. There's a lot of really nice trees. Very nice, beautiful trees, straight pines. I see some oaks. There's a lot of really nice trees. So here, there's a roadway that comes through. So there's a road here, and then there's a road that goes this way. And I believe that this is considered an access to the property. Now, I don't know if that road stays or if that road would become closed and that road's mine, should I decide to buy this. And then my property would go, this piece of property would go this way. I think it's just before this other river bends, which is right about there. So there's another 100 yards or so that way that would be considered part of this piece of property. But again, I mean, a lot of beautiful pines. Somebody's already been in here and kind of started to clear. Who knows? Maybe they got in here and said, "No, this is too much." But you know, let's say this road does become a piece of the property and it's no longer public access. You know, you'd have a nice driveway right here, put a small cabin right there, trim out some of these trees, and you'd have a beautiful view of the Pere Marquette River from the top of this hill. So here's kind of the hill. It's pretty steep, but there's several spots where you could build, you know, a stair rockway or something. Right there would be a very nice spot for a little walkway down. So let's just kind of walk the property a little bit. Oh, one thing I did see is, maybe it's something I just see, maybe I'm crazy, but it looks like there's possibly a game trail right through here. I don't know if you can kind of see it in the video. So then the river, yeah, again, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but so the river goes here and then it snakes back and it curves back to where I was just standing. Here's that hill, and it continues to run that way. But all of that down there is also part of the property. I walked down there and it was pretty much sank right into whatever it is. So obviously there's no trees down there that I can tell. So it's probably a little bit on the marshy side. Another nice little building spot right here. That'd be pretty secluded. There'd be your view. Clean some of that stuff out. You have a nice view of the river. Some trees like this would have to figure out how to get some of this down. Either hire somebody to come in, or that's ready to fall anytime, being held up by a dead tree. Very quiet, very peaceful. It's only an acre, a little over an acre, so it's not much to maintain. Wouldn't take much to clear a lot of this out. Look at that. There's another one that needs to come down. Again, here's another nice site for a small cabin or something. Clean all this up. I just snapped off right there. Wow. More beautiful pines. So this is what I saw from the backside when I pulled up. This huge tree laying down. My car's on the other side of that tree. And that's essentially what I saw when I pulled up. I'm like, oh man, this isn't gonna be good. And then you just walk past that tree and this is what you see. Walk up to the top of the hill. And there's the river. I don't know. Kind of excited about this. So here's some other things to consider. I just walked down the road. This is the road that I drove in on. There's my car down there. There's nobody here. I mean, this place is super quiet. There is a house right there. Lights on, but I don't see any smoke coming from the chimney. Obviously there's power. That's kind of a good thing, possibly, you know. If it's just a weekend cabin, I'd probably set up a solar system or something. But on the other side of the road, you know, here's a house that a tree fell on. It's pretty clear that it's never been lived in, or hasn't been lived in for a super long time. I did spot something back there. I don't know if it's like an off-grid house, but of course I'm not going to walk back in there. But it's possible I would maybe have a weekend neighbor, or maybe that's a home similar to what I would like to do. Just a recreational property, someplace to go on a weekend. There's another home that's been condemned. Clearly nobody's lived in that for decades. You can see more evidence of where the storm came through. It's kind of everywhere. This is the other side of the road. So originally this is also parceled off, similar to the piece of property that I'm looking at. So it's possible this could, you know, eventually turn into like a small neighborhood. I doubt that will ever happen, but it is a possibility. So I did see a marker somewhere. Oh, yeah, right here's a hunting sign, no hunting sign. So it's right here. So my guess is that the property line starts somewhere in through here. I would go back, and then I would go all the way back to that stop sign back there, all the way back to the river. It's a big 1 acre piece of property. Here's this road. I don't know where this goes to. I'm going to drive down it. This is considered a public road. You know, here's a piece of property. Here's the road. Here's another piece of property. But then on the other side, where I was on the other side of those trees, this is where that road goes to. So, very interesting. But yeah, I'll give you my thoughts here in just a minute. So I decided to get out. This is the other side of that access road, just on the other side of the hill. And come down here, and lo and behold, there's obviously somebody lived here at one point. There's a trailer in there. This is what I say when you go to look at some of these properties. You know, guy will show you that, and then you walk in there, and there's a parked trailer in there. There's a house back there. So it looks like there might be something down here. I don't know, I'm not gonna go back there, but clearly this was kind of a neighborhood at some point. Gonna do a little history researching on the area. Definitely a house there. There was a what appears to be a fireplace. I'm gonna say as old as this brick is. My guess is that there was a pretty big home here at one point. But all right, well, it's nasty. Ooh, car looks good. Well, it's nasty, so I'm gonna mosey on home. All right, final thoughts. So I've driven around the area here where this property is located at, and it's really gridded off. Kind of interesting. I found several other home sites, places where there was likely a home at some point. And they're kind of scattered all out. My guess is that, you know, without doing any sort of research, my guess is that this was a small neighborhood at some point, a small community. Where I'm currently at was a very heavily logged area. The logging industry was super popular here back in the day. In fact, the Pere Marquette River was founded by a logger, and they would send logs down the river, you know, and I kind of get the sense that that's what this area where I'm currently at is all about. I'm gonna certainly do some more research on it, but as far as finding a piece of property as a recreational, you know, weekend place to come to, this is 3 hours from my house. Easily get here on Friday night, spend the weekend, fish the river. I'm well within a short drive to a lot of really great little restaurants and places to go, and it's really a beautiful place for an outdoorsman or somebody that just wants to get outside for the weekend. I like what I see. There's a couple things about it that I'm not overly excited about. A little bit more work that needs to be done that I was kind of hoping to find, but it comes with the trade-off, and that trade-off is the property is priced extremely competitive, and actually a lot less than what I would expect to pay for a piece of property like this. If that storm wouldn't have come through, wouldn't even be another thought. It would be a no-brainer. But there's a lot of work that kind of needs to be done before you could start building anything, or have a small cabin brought in. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole ton of extra time at my disposal, but might just be what it is. But yeah, we'll see what happens.